Mm-hmm. Don't mind me. I'm just, you know...
We always mind you.
Is that a fact? Listen to the
Yes,
sounds
maybe.
of beer being poured. That amazing sound. Okay, that's a little bit much. Anyway, we're here with a new episode of
I
Red
didn't
Rothingham.
hear any sound.
Well, buy new ears. Just go to ears.com and just buy new ones. I'm sure
No,
they'll help.
you need to get a new sound out. This one is fucked.
Okay, I'll have it shipped to me next day in the morning. Okay. I'll just go to sound.com and they'll send me a box and I'll have to open it and then the sound will come out.
Nice. A box of sound.
Almost sounds like a boom box.
No, that's a box of booms.
Yes, that also makes sense. Anyway, we got one more episode of Red Rothingham before Artrix Con 2018 commences, which is more or less tomorrow.
No, you.
Except that we won't actually be traveling tomorrow, but tomorrow we're gonna start with preparations and whatnot, and the next day we'll start to move around and do things and travel. It's gonna be a lot of traveling. It's gonna be amazing. Gonna be for everyone involved. You just don't know it yet, but I'll tell you, it's gonna be pretty fun. It's always gonna be fun. You'll see. You'll all see. But yeah, we're gonna go. Go ahead. You've got my undivided attention, Xaverius.
No, I said I want to see.
Oh.
See?
Oh.
See, Artrix?
Yes. Anyway, new episode of Red Rothingham. We got with us quite a few hosts. There's of course me, the Artrix. We got with us, in no particular order, SanyaWaffles.
Hi.
We got with us Xaverius.
You need to rename to Sonia.
We got Sekele.
Yeah.
And we got Bakphoon.
It's me.
It you. Also,
Citation needed.
Citation needed. Citation needed. I'm needlessly moving the microphone around, and it probably sounds pretty retarded. Anyway, so this time around, I'm drawing Seris from Paladins for the sole reason that Xaverius told me to, and it's a character I like to draw. So I guess
Extra thick.
she is pretty thick. That's very true. He sure has them curves in all the right places.
I mean, look at that orb.
Yes. That's delicious, delicious orb. I bet it's got all the magics.
It's got all the daily nutrition that you need. Eat one of those, you can feed yourself for an entire 24 hours.
But yeah, this week's kind of odd when it comes to happenings. I guess there's a bunch of things we can talk about, but
17 million.
17 million, you say? That's more than one. That
Citation needed.
no, I guess you need citation if it's more than one. I mean, if it was just one, then I guess we could have gone without any citation. But since citation is needed, I see that happening. So, who wants to go first with the topics? Does anyone have something they want to discuss very badly?
I do.
All right, let's hear it.
I'm sure you all know that IGN has its fair share of problems.
No.
And you can add,
IGN would never.
You
they,
can have.
they, they had a little incident where this one guy basically plagiarized word for word a review. I forget the name of the reviewer that he basically ripped off. This pretty much word for word. Most of it was straight
It was a
from
person on the
The
YouTube.
boomstick or something like that.
yeah, the booms. Yeah, and
On the YouTubes.
and
Okay.
now he's basically not only been fired, not only his reviews were taken down, but they've scrubbed almost every single bit of his work from IGN.
Well, because all of it was plagiarized.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? All of it?
That's why they scrubbed it. Yeah. Even
Oh,
his
so they're not
LinkedIn
they're not
he-
impersonating him. They're basically going every single one of his work was plagiarized.
Well, look, he made a video where he apologized for it.
No, he did. It
everybody-
was kind of a half-assed apology.
Yes,
I saw the
he
video.
apologized to everybody except the guy he copied from. and
this has been
then he's
ongoing.
like, also this editor-in-chief accused me of plagiarizing this other review, but that's ridiculous. Then you get the review and it is plagiarized, and I guess it wasn't the only one.
That's amazing. So he's plagiarized so many people, and they're now having to go back and go, okay, this guy's just.
And he's
a tool.
he's only admitting it on case-by-case basis.
Sounds amazing.
He basically his whole career was nothing but plagiarizing other people's
right.
work.
I mean, that's exceptional even for a gaming journalist. You must
Yeah, like the
You must
where
admit,
is he gonna
this,
do low
look, this is the
here?
line of work where one side makes an article, and then every other side has the same article.
But this
And-
sounds like it's gone beyond just clickbait works and let's use what everyone else is reporting on to, oh my god, literally every single independent. Like this sounds like this guy ripped everyone, like pretty much a lot of people off, and that's shitty even for the journalistic integrity that this lacks, you know.
But it gets even better, because even his LinkedIn profile is plagiarized from another profile.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, at this point, it's a lifestyle. Leave him alone.
I am astonished that it's literally that bad. Like, I came into this basically thinking, oh, it was just this one guy. I had no idea the rabbit hole went deeper.
Yeah. People found out that he plagiarized it, and then he dared people to. He insisted that there was only this one review because of time pressure and everything, and then he was like, I dare you to find another plagiarized review, and of course people looked up, and
When you tell basically the internet, like knowing how just Tumblr, Twitter, 4chan, and Reddit act, most likely they're gonna find something if you basically go, you know, hey, prove me wrong, and people are gonna go. I mean,
That
haven't people learned
sounds
from,
like a
Andrew Dobson,
challenge.
basically, whenever he speaks, people go, wait a minute. They go through all the files. They're like, you said this. You said the exact opposite at some time and date. People haven't learned that the internet kind of doesn't forgive or forget anymore. I mean, I'm not on
the internet
4chan,
forgets.
everything.
Internet forgets. I think it needs to remember it forgets quickly.
But it never forgives.
Yeah, yeah.
Trust
telling
me,
this
it never forgets. I mean, people may not stop caring about something, but it will never forget. Those are very important distinctions to make.
Yeah. Like people don't like not caring. It's not the same as forgetting completely. I do agree with Artrix there, but oh my god, I had no idea it got that bad. I'm legitimately curious to what other shit he's done then. If he's basically his whole career online was basically complete plagiarism. Like, what else has this guy done? Has he eaten babies?
Possibly, but
Well, if he ate babies, he probably plagiarized that as well.
yeah,
He was a clone.
they probably
He
were
got-
even a real baby. He plagiarized the babies.
Likely plagiarized the entire concept from Jonathan Swift's modest proposal.
Yeah, he just read that and is like, this is a good idea. I gotta take this for my own.
It's a nice, modest proposal.
Yeah. Like yeah. And then he reads 1984 and is like, he shows it off to his buddies. And he's like, we need to adopt this as our way of doing things.
I believe the liberal left already did that long ago.
A long time ago.
Which kind of ties into something else I wanted to mention that, but I don't think I'm going to mention it now because basically we've blown the lid off of this. Just one thing, I'm like, oh my god. People wonder why I have a problem trusting journalists. Just in general, not just gaming journalists, just journalism in general. It seems to be very yellow and very, oh my god, everything has to be, there's no integrity. I mean, it's just blatantly obvious there's no integrity at this point.
That can be tied into two things. One thing being that an awful lot of journalists are very ideologically driven. There seems to be this group thing where basically all journalists seems to be thinking the same way somehow. But not just that, but it also is the whole clickbait culture that's been cultivated, not just by modern journalism, but also the internet that enables that kind of business model. Like, okay, this guy is kind of extreme in that he basically plagiarized everything up, including his LinkedIn profile. But it kind of rings true for the rest, like what Xaverius said. Journalists just, someone publishes an article and then someone just picks it up, edits it a little bit to give their own spin to it and just shits it out as quickly as they can. It's all about being the first person to get the story out, and, accuracy goes out of the window. I'm pretty sure I brought up this one case of a YouTube streamer who basically revealed that journalists approached him, asked him some very sleazy questions.
Journalism approached him.
Yes, not just anyone, but a journalist. And then within only a few minutes after the interview concluded, there was an entire fucking article. So he could safely assume that, they already had the entire article written out. They already had formed their opinion. There's no journalism involved here. They just try to get some quotes from him, and it's just all lies and slander. Like, nothing about the article they published had any kind of bearing to the truth, or was even necessary for that matter. So yeah. Modern. Oh, go ahead.
Media lies, always lies.
Well, that is something that's been true for a long time. That isn't anything new. It's the way it's happening. I mean, I'm pretty sure the media has been lying as long as it existed, in one way or another. Though the way media is presented has changed significantly. I watched a segment from the BBC News back from like the 1950s when television was just starting to become a thing, and it was very dry. It wasn't black and white, and it was extremely dry. It was like
they had color televisions in the 50s.
No, that was more like a late 50s, early 60s thing, and even then, not everyone owned a color set. That was something that only started to become mainstream like the mid to late 60s. I don't know. Maybe they had color television and just didn't know about it.
Yeah, I remember seeing Walter Cronkite, like, not in person, not even, I wasn't even alive, but I have footage of Walter Cronkite of CBS reporting on the death of JFK, and it's so much more blatantly objective than the shit we got today. But even then, I'm sure there were some
just
biases
like
here
the
and
news
but they were more aware of it.
And the guy's like, he dead. and then the news jingle plays, and that's it.
But nowadays, it's just, how do I put it? It's just, they hype everything. Everything is
These days it's like he did and Trump did it.
like I don't care what skew it is, liberal, conservative, they all have agendas, and it doesn't matter if they're corporate, state-run, whatever. They all have this agenda that they're running, and it's not to inform the public, it's to hypnotize the public, to get them into a sort of a routine, to brainwash them into thinking something that may or may not even exist. Like, I've heard this about Sweden, of all places. So to me, this, what Artrix was talking about, like the whole, clickbaity thing, trying to push something out quickly. I think this, between not just the plagiarism thing we're talking about, but just basically this whole mess, it's going to eventually collapse on itself. And if it hasn't already, like for me, basically, I don't trust anything any journalist tells me. I pretty much have to second guess it, and I don't like the fact that I have to do that, but that's kind of what I have to do.
That should be the default. You should always question whatever a journalist is telling you, just like any other story. Don't take everything at face value, because especially in journalism, there's such a high incentive to use that.
High incentive.
Yes, to basically try and push your own agenda, because people don't have time to investigate everything in the world ever. No one does. That's why we have the news. But they know that the average person isn't going to fact check everything. So yeah.
So they throw in whatever they want and basically expect people to gobble it up and regurgitate it when they tell other people. Don't do any fact checking. Don't do any constructive and critical thinking. Just believe. I don't even think I even did that when I was like in my SJW phase. I think deep down I always questioned things, but I was too afraid to come out and tell people I was questioning things and not liking what I was hearing. And maybe I'm not a good. Maybe as Artrix, you and I have always talked. I've even told this on, I think, with some other people. I'm not exactly a good modern liberal. That's why I consider myself more classical in a sense. That, and it's just the whole, the shit that we have seen just shows that, there's a lot to be reckoned. Someday this is going to come to a head, and people are basically going to fight back and go, this has all been lies. It's all been lies.
By that point, the Sharia law will already be in place, and everyone will get executed.
Everyone.
Including the people that wanted Sharia law. It was like, oh goody, we instated Sharia law. This is great. This is fantastic. And then everyone else goes, yeah, you sinned.
And then they have a Sharia law, and the guy is like, hi, my Muslim friend, and the Muslim friend is like, Allahu Akbar. And obviously pulls his knife. I mean, pulls his nothing, because nobody ever should need a knife, Artrix. And
not even the butter.
And that's an emergency execution.
It's either that where they instate communism and then they all starve to death, because it's like
no. Here's what's gonna happen. So they instate Sharia law in an attempt to instate the communisms, and then everyone's gonna be incredibly confused, because it's like, but wait a minute. No, most Muslims don't care about communism. Now I have to share my house with all these infidels. Like, Commissar Jamal is coming to my house and says, okay, now you have to share your entire house with these other people that are not Muslim. Why? Well, it's communism. And then they're gonna be like, fuck that. And
then they will kill everyone.
Mhm.
And then people will wonder why communism will fail again, and then they'll go, well, that wasn't real communism. And then I'm going, Venezuela.
Then again, during the Cold War, the Muslim countries are kind of like, they found themselves in the middle of the whole shebang, and they never really seemed to like either side. They were kind of like...
Actually, if you look at the countries in the Soviet Union that had Muslim, and the other communists that had Muslim as even a sizable minority, or even a majority, they were actually some of the first to basically get the fuck out of the Soviet Union or other communist blocs in the revolutions in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, because they don't like communism.
I don't like communism. I agree with them on something. Maybe we can work. Maybe we can work together in moderation, and they just cut off my hands.
That's why this weird alliance between the regressive left and Islam is so baffling to me, because on one hand you have a faction that tries to promote
They lost their hand.
I do have...
Well, give them a hand then.
Okay, I'll let you finish, Sekele, but I just wanted to make a point. So on one hand,
I'll let you finish.
So on one hand, you have the regressive left that basically wants to turn everything into communisms, and wants to create like an extreme form of equality, forced equality. Equality of outcome, everything, and then again, they ally themselves with which is arguably the most patriarchal ideology out there. So I'm like, what's it gonna be? I mean, classical liberalism is basically like, look, everyone's the same, period. I mean, on the law, like, you do you. Equality of opportunity and all that. If you're a woman, you want to have a successful career, go ahead and do it. We're not gonna stop you.
You like too much freedom to be a liberal.
That's why I said a classical liberal. You have to make the distinction these days.
Yeah, unfortunately you do.
Flavor of freedom.
Yes. In ye olden times, and you said, I'm a liberal. I believe in liberty. Well, okay, that makes sense. But now you have to explicitly say, I'm a classical liberal, to differentiate myself from actually the people that are not.
So what you are saying is you are alt-right.
Well, if you ask a regressive leftist, yes.
Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm an LGBT heretic because I'm a classical liberal myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure all of my friends who, not all of them, but like the ones that are already on the fence about me, the minute I say I'm a classical liberal like Sargon of Akkad, they're immediately going to go and leave me, and that's like.
Well, we all know that Sargon of Akkad is the alt-right, even though he takes every single opportunity to basically say no, and he even debated like the alt-right and. Quite disagreed with just about anything.
Yeah.
And
he threatens to me to be our Sargon of Akkad, like, I have a friend who's very, like, doesn't like Sargon, but I'm like, but have you ever seen the fact that he not only disagrees with the alt-right on many things, he also disagrees with SJWs, right? He's basically agrees with you, man, and he's like, I just don't like how he goes out of his... It's like, someone has to basically go out of their way and tell these people, stop. You're being idiots.
It's almost like he has his own mind and likes things and doesn't like other things, and he's like, I'm going to pick the things that I like.
I don't agree.
Make my own opinions.
I don't agree on every single thing he believes. I mean, he's got an interesting point of view. He's interesting to listen to. But I don't. It's not like.
No, I agree with him on the fact that 9/11 was an inside job.
Actually, I think he denounced that. He used. he basically went on record to say, "Look, I used to be a 9/11 truther. I'm not anymore."
Yeah.
I stopped. Did you know you can change your opinion?
To tell that to
Oh my
Thunderfood.
You can change your opinion? Holy shit. Holy shit.
Oh
guys, I
god,
didn't know that.
that's the best thing about this car fire. That is the recent interactions between Sargon and Thunderfood. Thunderfood is basically like, Sargon used to think this. He didn't foresee this, therefore he's wrong. He didn't foresee that Theresa May is terrible negotiator.
Yeah, why do you like her so much when she fucked up? And Sargon is like, well, I don't anymore.
She fucked up, therefore Brexit is a huge failure. And everyone should have seen that coming. That's some heavy Mr. Hindsighting right there.
The thing about Thunderfood is that he applies scientific methods to people and thought processes and feelings, which is not a thing. People are unfortunately not a constant.
Nope. They change and adapt their opinions and have like their own interests and whatnot. It's all very logical in hindsight. But that's the thing about people. Not everyone will use the same logic as you do. That's the thing about society. And trying to get along with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably, I mean, myself included, I often have a hard time just plain understanding people and getting along with them, but that's due to just the chaotic nature of life. People are not always gonna act exactly the way you want it or expect them to.
Mm-hmm.
Also, but I digress. Ray Rothingham is getting way too philosophical and serious now, so we need to do something silly now.
You're gay.
No.
But I think you. But
No. Look, Xaverius, you have to use the proper terminology, right? It's gay with an H.
Yes, I said gay.
Gay.
But I do think you make a very good point, and I will kind of make this a little more lighthearted. Like, I think a lot of people just, like, it's sort of like with, like, radical feminists. I think a lot of them never got over the whole cootie, oh my god, boys have cooties, ew, kind of stage, and a lot of us kind of have, and now they're trying to make that mainstream, which is like, do we really want that? Do we really want to revert back to kids? I hated being a kid, looking back, like, yeah, things may have been somewhat simpler, but things also kind of sucked. Can we just not be like...
You know what is especially funny here?
Yeah.
I never had that phase.
I never did either. I hung out with both guys and girls alike when I was a kid.
Now you are a gender fluid. Oh my god. No, better, you are gender blind.
Yeah,
you only see people.
Be honest, maybe that's true about me. I never have saw men were like they have their subtle differences, but overall they're the same.
Okay, that's
right. Everything is racist.
I don't know. Is there cars involved and racetracks? Because if there's none of those, then I don't see any racism. I'm sorry.
Go speed racist.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's great.
I'll have to remember that one.
It's one of the oldest Cyanide Happiness videos.
It just does go to show you, like even if kids can go, well, stop this, not being this, oh, they're different, this kind of phase, then maybe us adults should do the same. But that's just me. I could very well be very wrong.
Anyway, I think Sekele had something to add about this whole stick. All right.
When you were still talking about why the liberal left is so obsessed with supporting radical Islam, I
Yes.
have a bit of a conspiracy theory about this. First question: have you seen that old interview from the 1980s with the former Soviet spy?
I've seen that one. Yes.
The one basically about how essentially this whole progressive left was a plan by the Soviet Union to destabilize Western society, and so that they would first overthrow their own governments, and then the Soviets would basically kill all of these progressives and take over. Have you heard this theory? This agent basically saying this, right?
I have heard actually a lot of that. With not just progressivism, but just any sort of liberalism in general. Like that, basically anything that isn't staunch conservatism is a way of enacting communism. That's a theory some people over here have made.
Basically, this person who was a former Soviet agent basically said this, and I will say that since I go to law school and I do have access to some information. Basically, stuff you can find in the library, but it's much easier to find here. And yes, there are in fact documents and publicly available documents about how communist era Czechoslovakia would supply the Western hippie movement with drugs. It was invented in Czechoslovakia and then shipped into Western countries. Yes. Basically, I wonder whether, since the Soviet Union collapsed before these leftist progressives could hand power over to them, whether these leftists are now instinctively driven to the biggest. Basically, since Islam is now the West's biggest enemy, instinctively joining forces with them, despite them being their ideological opposites.
God damn it, the robots are rebelling.
You say that, and I actually can say, I think you're onto something, Sekele. And I don't want to turn this into too deep, like 5 deep for us kind of thing.
It should be at least.
Turning the frogs gay!
I actually have heard a theory that this is something like, well, we all know what TERFs are, right? The TERFs and the alt-right or ultra-conservatives will sometimes work together to get rid of trans people. This is something I have seen in Britain. So it's not that far off to say that these two could work together and cause some chaos, right? So I do kind of think it's a valid theory. I'm not saying it's actually 100% true, but it doesn't sound that far off. And if there is if it does have some historical backing, like with the communists, what Sekele said about, sending the hippies drugs to trying to work with them to turn everything communism, that might actually hold some water nowadays. That would not surprise me.
Well, the thing is that it all kind of boils down to, break them down, build them up. So it seems like they're trying to just break down Western society, or every facet of Western society that seems to be working, and then rebuild in their own image. The thing is, though, I'm not entirely sure if, using Islam for that is gonna be, is going to yield the proper results.
No one ever said they were smart.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you've got this entire building full of mice, and you're like, okay, these mice are having it.
I like these mice.
I don't want this society to be full of mice. I want them to be full of I don't know, guinea pigs instead. So you bring in a bunch of cats,
Okay,
and the
okay,
cats.
Artrix. I don't want this society to be full of mice. I want guinea pigs. This is pretty much a plot on one of the islands in Sunless Sea.
So you bring in a bunch of cats, and they start killing all the mice, but then the entire cage is full of cats instead, and you're like, oh.
They kill all the guinea pigs too.
Yeah, and that too. They also kill all the guinea pigs. So in the end, you don't have the desired outcome. In fact, you just create like a mess. And you're like, oh, okay then.
Right.
Anyway, maybe we should bring up another topic.
Yeah, something maybe more lighthearted.
Yes, we
Well,
need
that-
something lighthearted.
It's also about leftist stupidity, but in a much funnier way. The
Sure.
new footage. Have you seen the footage from the new Doom game?
Oh yeah, that was definitely a thing that
was the other
happened.
yeah, that was the other thing we wanted to talk about. Oh,
Taboo.
joy.
A boot. You're becoming Canadian, Senya. I'm afraid. I hate to be the one telling you this, but I think you caught the Canada.
Yes.
Well,
It's a
if it
very
weren't for-
contagious-
If it weren't for Trudeau, I would actually like Canada.
Well,
not-
since you're Canadian now, okay, tell Trudeau that he's being a fagé.
Also, since you are Canadian now, can you please stop, and roll?
Also, since you're Canadian now, can you tell Peterson that he sounds like Kermit the Frog?
Because you are on fire. The entire Canada is on fire from what I heard.
Look,
Alright.
I'll do my best, but he might consider me a Nazi.
Artrix,
what the hell, I'll do it
have you
anyway.
noticed that places traditionally considered kinda cold-ish, like Canada and Sweden, are having forest fires lately?
oh yeah, Swedia had the fires.
As far as the Arctic Circle, says the
Mhm.
news.
They also had a bunch of
And they're like, what the fuck is this orange? That's not a snow. What?
yeah. What's this weird orange substance that's constantly changing shape? I don't understand. Also, apparently, someone decided that Sweden was too cold, so they burned a bunch of cars. For the lols.
Well, for a tiny moment, I thought it's Varg Vikernes getting a trip to a city, but no, it was perfectly ordinary Swedish people. Yes.
Wait, you're telling me that a Swede that we commonly associate with Swede is the one who made Sweden more fiery by setting a bunch of cars on fire?
Yes. I mean, that's what the news said. It was the
Oh.
Swede.
Okay then.
How Swede? Wouldn't you
How
say?
Swedish of him to do that.
He's such a Swede.
But
Anyway, I think we're getting off track here. So I think we're talking about the Doom 2 trailer, or I should say Doom 2.2.
Going to Doom 6.
Doom Eternal
no.
basically is
Wait,
it
Doom
has
5?
a
What?
Doom
Doom.
Eternal. Yeah, I kind of get confused why they went with Doom for the first of the remake series, and now Doom Eternal. Like, at least they didn't go Doom 2 for this. Good.
Count the
But-
classic. If we don't count the various spin-offs, then there is the original Doom, was completely in 3D and basically was a survival horror game. Then there is Doom without suffix, which is the previous one we got, the Super Action one. And now there is Doom Eternal, which is the 5th in the main series. Once again, not counting the spin-offs like Doom 64 and so on.
Numbers are not in fashion.
Look, let's just call it Doom 2.2, okay? It's Doom 2, but the second one, the remake. And we should retroactively name the last Doom just Doom 1.2.
But
So
how
it's
does it make you feel, Artrix?
It's the first Doom, but it's the second iteration of that game. because it seems to be following pretty much the same everything.
Okay, Artrix, so it's Doom 2-2.
Yeah, it's Doom 2-2.
Good.
There's Doom.
We are on the same page here.
There's the first one was Doom 1-2, and now we've got Doom 2-2. And
No, the first one was Doom 2-1.
Hold on. If we're gonna go with this numbering scheme, then what's gonna happen with Doom 3-2? Because Doom 3 was kind of a mixed bag.
Okay. You are taking it by. Oh, right. Yeah, you are using a different numbering system. I thought the first one was Doom 1-1, and then there was Doom 1-2 and Doom 1-3, and now it's Doom 2-1 and Doom 2-2.
But wasn't the original series just Doom 1 up to 4? I think we had 4 Dooms, and then they just started over.
We had 3 Dooms. If you
Okay. So there were only 3 Dooms.
You don't count that very large mod for 2.
Yes. But then again, okay. So basically we're in like the second iteration of the original trilogy, and we're now at Doom 2-2.
In short, reboots are fucking gay.
Well, it depends. I mean, the
Artrix reboots are fucking gay. They fornicate with the homosexual people.
So you think that Doom 1-2, in other words, the last Doom game that Bethesda released was bad? Because I thought it was pretty good actually. It was good because it was nothing like modern games. Yeah, it was kind of a breath of fresh air. You're like, whoa. So this is nice, and it was. I got it for like what, 20 quid, and it was like, okay, I'll play it for a few hours. Okay.
I almost got it for free, but I kind of forgot about the code, and then I tried to redeem the code, and they were like, we ran out of the Dooms. I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, Doom is...
These are digital Dooms. You can't run out of digital Dooms. Why did you even put so many codes into boxes if you don't have enough digital Dooms?
Doom is a finite resource, okay? There's only so much...
Apparently.
But yeah, the last Doom game that Bethesda released was pretty good. I liked it, and this one's probably gonna be good too. Though it's probably kind of more of the same, but and it also seems to be following the same basic story as the first one, because or the first trilogy, because it wasn't the basic plot.
Basically continues where the first one ended.
Yeah, don't the demons just go to Earth, and then you go to Earth, and you just keep killing demons because you're a Doom guy, and that's just what you do?
Demons.
Though we shouldn't be calling them demons, they're mortally challenged. And that's where the story, of course, is heading, because... Okay, so they released a trailer.
Yeah. And basically from the gameplay, as you mentioned, like as you walk through the hell-blasted streets of Earth, propaganda blasting from loudspeakers to welcome your friends from another world. And demon is the hurtful term, called them mortally challenged, and Earth is the melting pot of the universe.
At that point it was literally melting, so that one's true.
Mm-hmm. Also,
we're not lying at that point.
Also, I don't know if I were a demon and people were God damn it, I'm trying to use big words now. Patronizingly call you mortally challenged instead of just calling me a goddamn demon. Especially with the prefix of goddamn, because that's very appropriate for a demon.
Hey, what's up, my digger?
Yeah. Instead of this whole gay, mortally challenged shit. You're like, I'm not mortally challenged. I'm a demon. It says right here on my resume. So, I would even go as far as argue that you calling me mortally challenged kind of patronizing, and that's more offensive than just calling me a demon.
Basically, just you have internalized demophobia.
Misodemony. Misodemy?
So yeah,
Sorry, not demon phobia. The how to call it? The Hades phobia.
but yeah, the people that usually see dog whistles in just about every syllable got up in arms because, oh my god, this game is doing all the Tumblr buzzwords. They're gaslighting and dog whistling and I don't know,
They're
signaling.
like, here's the thing, right? When I heard those lines in the game, right, in the trailer, I basically knew they were going to get upset. But they got upset in a way that even I could not have foreseen. Basically, a lot of people are upset because they claim the demons are representing minorities targeted by immigration services, and that somehow is, yeah, that's it. They're basic, and that's one of the things I saw based on this, right?
Is it still a dog whistle when it's demon hound?
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna be inclusive and shit, it should be demon hounding, not dog whistling. I mean,
Talking about the
that's come
and
on,
being offensive to those poor demons.
come on, that's so.
Those basic Doge demon-like enemies from Doom. At least over here, the slang that we used to call them with term is a pig dog. I think that's pretty offensive.
Also, I think the term dog whistle is very Earth-centric. It should be more like, I don't know, what is the demon equivalent to a dog? Hound?
Social justice warrior.
Cerberus.
Yes.
Use the term Hades phobia, then let's call them Cerberus.
Okay. Yeah, how about we just don't and just talk like normal fucking people? Then again, dog whistle isn't normal, so. But here's what I find kind of funny about this whole situation, because usually whenever a game is like a game or piece of media is like some sort of social justice message in it, especially when it comes to like the Marvel comics and whatnot, and people call them out on it, like, yeah, there's an obvious political message in it. It's honky-dory fine. Also, if you look at like games like Wolfenstein, even the more recent ones where you basically just go around killing Nazis, they praise the games. Yeah, you can go and kill Nazis. It's fucking great. It is fucking great. Don't get me wrong. But that's you don't hear them complain, damn, because
Actually, they were.
They're complaining that in games you can kill Nazis.
They said because it was a modern day, basically Nazis taking over the modern day America, or at least sort of contemporary, give or take like a few decades. That it was representative of Trump's.
Puts us right after
they were saying this was literally like what Trump's America was going to be.
Obviously.
That's what a lot of these people were saying.
Look, this person is even blonde. Trump is blonde.
So let me get this straight. So in a game where the objective is to kill virtually all Nazis that you meet on your way.
Not just kill them, Artrix, punch them first.
No, I'm pretty sure in those games you have to kill them really hard.
Well,
like
first you punch them, then you kill them.
I punched the shed, man. Sorry.
You can punch the shed. Why not? If the shed is a Nazi.
But yeah, in that game where you almost exclusively and unapologetically kill all the Nazis you meet, they still find issue with it because.
Yeah. Because we can't have fun anymore, Artrix.
Isn't that the whole point?
Yeah. Well, I mean, but here's
Artrix, obviously you cannot be expected to understand it. You are just stupid. You need to be a journalist to understand it. Look, I saw an article recently that made a case for No Man's Sky being better on release than it's now. So, you know.
Well, isn't it slightly better than was on release? I'm not saying it's a good game.
It has gameplay now.
Yeah, exactly. So technically,
But originally, Artrix, it was about the pointlessness and loneliness of the universe and about the
existentialism, whatever.
Yes, the existentialism and the nihilism of the pilots therein. And the other competitive waiting for Godot and some other retarded gay shit.
I'm pretty sure. Okay, go ahead, Sekele.
To be fair, you have to have a very high IQ to play No Man's Sky.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, also the journalist apparently didn't know anything about No Man's Sky because he was like, yeah, people thought it's going to be a game, but that was definitely a fault in the PR. Yeah, sure. I mean, look, the chief of the studio said that it's gonna be a game, including multiplayer. So if he says that it's a game with multiplayer, and it's not a game with a multiplayer, obviously that's just a miscommunication. Obviously.
Proof is a tool of the patriarchal oppression.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you said, but yes. I had patriarchal oppression, that's enough for me.
You ate your microphone, that's proof enough. But yeah, they probably wet their panties just thinking about how deep the game was gonna be. And it could be either gender, by the way, so it doesn't matter whether the journalist is male or female, they would both cream their panties.
There's only one gender matrix.
Exactly.
I know someone who bought the collector's edition, and he immediately was like, "Oh,
I made a big mistake."
Oh.
Well, I think he took a long, hard look at pre-ordering games or whatever at that point.
Well, I mean, it's a way to learn, at least.
Yes.
The only pre-order I saw that was fair was the pre-order of Dishonored 2, because you got Dishonored along with it, so you could just pretend you are buying Dishonored and getting Dishonored 2 for free.
It's just like I saw someone playing No Man's Sky, like in the corner of Steam, it basically popped up saying so and so is playing No Man's Sky, and I'm just like, why?
Who is this misguided soul?
Like, why would you do that to yourself?
Maybe they bought No Man's Sky when it released, expecting it to be the new revolution that will revolutionize revolutions as we know them, and then discovered, oh wait, it's
like you are a communist, Artrix.
And then realized, oh wait, it's just a bunch of pretentious bullshit, and then just left it there since they played it 2.0001
it's not even
hours.
Pretentious bullshit. It's just bullshit. Everything's green and all the monsters look like snots, and all you do is mine shit because you are running out of oxygen.
Yes.
That's just No Man's Sky.
Sounds very enthralling.
It's amazing.
Yes.
I started
anyway, so the game's been sitting on this in his Steam account.
It was loading for many minutes, Artrix, and when I finally started it was the wrong resolution, and it had this big black stripe on the right side of the screen, just on one side of the screen.
That sounds amazing.
It is. That was the best fit to screen.
I want this game so bad now. Take me now, game. I want it. Except Marie.
So, what you're basically saying is that, like, from my getting.
So what you're saying
is basically he bought the game way back when, and now that it's somewhat better, he's probably playing it to see what's going on.
I think Penboy was doing just that.
Okay.
Yes, he was.
Sounds fair, but part of me is just like, well, I mean, to be fair, if you can't get a refund, you might as well try and see what it's like after all the patches are put out, Like,
yes.
And that was the thing that kind of got me, is like the fact that so many people were rightfully upset about it to some degree, and they were like, well, we want a refund, and everyone's like, the magic conch. No, And yeah, that's pretty much what happened. True facts.
Facts or true? Or both?
Gay.
Both. True
Oh.
facts.
Okay, now the real question, why the fuck is Google taking up 200 megs on my phone?
Because it's running Android and Google needs to know all your infos.
Google needs to know. Google needs to know what color of piss you took this morning. Or
I'm
else it
gonna
will
shut it
sacrifice
down.
you.
You know what the worst part is? I would actually expect them to do such a thing so they can sell that info to your insurance company.
Your insurance?
They're like, oh, hey, insurance company, have you noticed that this guy that's insured at your
The
company?
fun you made.
Yes. Okay, I'll appreciate it. Here's one appreciation. Don't spend in one place, okay?
Your insurance.
Yes. You know, hey, insurance company, you may want to check out this this data we got on your insurees, whatever you call it, piss. It is surprisingly yellow. And then the insurance company's like, yeah, piss is supposed to be yellow, you fucking idiots.
No, not always, Artrix.
Except when you drink 6 billion liters of water and then you die from water overdosage.
Or
Poor
if
guy.
there's no water,
He has too
you
much
end up
water.
having, and then you end up looking like a dehydrated coyote.
Or if you drink no water and then you just piss kidney stones. just a stream. Just a stream of
Just, it's just like when you're done, you get up and you look, it's like, Marge, the toilet's clogged with stones.
I'm literally just pissing nothing but kidney stones.
Sugar
It hurts.
This Radio Rothingham, more like Radio Rottingham.
Rockingham.
It's all very gross. It's, I know, as I said, more like Rottingham because it's all gross. And rotty.
Look. Now I know that there's gonna be a section of Rothingham that's like the Flintstones, and they call it Rockingham.
Rockingham.
Yeah, and everything's just made out of prehistoric rocks. And everyone's like, oh, but
And the rocks are made
Oh.
of
you do know that in the neighboring sector they're just driving around with regular cars, and you're just fucking around with these rocks.
neighboring sector.
Yes, I mean
It's two parsecs away.
you just take your stone car that you know power with your feet, and you just take that exit over there, and then you just amongst the regular fucking people instead of whatever the hell it is you're doing here.
Irregular fucking
It's a
people.
dystopian environment where everything is rock.
Yeah, I mean, Rothingham is already kind of a very dystopian place, but now you're in a place where they don't even have regular technology. They willingly revert back to like Flintstones tech.
Even
It's
the
like,
pigeons are made of stone.
Even the pigeons are, yeah, they're not even dinosaurs. They're just rocks.
oh, you want to play that game? Oh, I'm sorry, it's just all rocks. You basically have to play Call of Duty and rock. Just everything.
I'm pretty sure that the rock game is too masculine and toxic.
But you can at least shoot rock pigeons.
Just
That's also toxic and masculine.
that's the only species of pigeon that exists in that sector. It's just only rock pigeons. No other species allowed. And whenever they see another species, they just shoot them down. Fortunately, rock pigeon is the species of pigeons you see all over Rothingham and pretty much the rest of the planet, or IRL. So yeah, I guess they have that going for them.
Just imagine going to Bedrock and it's like, oh, I went to the restroom. I now need to use toilet. Oh, fuck! It's a rock.
As a matter of fact, this actually, I'm surprised how relevant it is, because
And then you
So-
reach for the toilet paper and it's just a rock pigeon.
So even better. You go to a bathroom in the bedrock section or in Rothingham, and instead of toilet paper, you find the 3 seashells.
Oh, you're from Demolition Man. Oh my god, I love that
The
movie.
problem is they are made of stone.
Of course, they're made of stone. It's in Rockingham. Everything's made of stone, including the 3 seashells. Because I remember. I mean, in the Flintstones, they used clams or shells as a currency. Apparently, that was like what they
They
used
also
to.
wipe their ass with it.
Of course.
You sound like you don't know how to use the 3 seashells.
You just.
You know,
I-
sometimes money is made out of paper, and toilet paper is, paper.
Makes all the
So it
sense.
makes sense that if money is shell, ass with shell.
Oh my god. I'm just
Oh
trying to
god,
think here.
that adds an entirely new meaning to money's dirty, since money IRL is pretty damn filthy. But
All I have to say is,
this is only this is not making it better. Living in a society where there's no distinction between like toilet paper and money. It's
Alex, that reminds me of the joke. Alex, do you know what's the difference between a mailbox and an elephant's ass?
What's the difference
You don't know what's the difference?
between a man's ass and an elephant's
No.
ass?
No, a mailbox and an elephant's ass, Alex.
No, I wouldn't know. Well, it's obviously something entirely different. But go ahead. There's a joke in there. I want to
so
know.
you don't know the difference.
Well, if I see a mailbox in elephant's ass, I obviously know the difference.
Yes, but do you know what the difference is?
Well, one is an organism and the other is an inanimate
Is that
object.
yes or no, Artrix?
I don't think he knows the difference.
Yeah, I'm sure. Artrix, so you don't know the difference, right?
What's a joke, Xaverius? Just say it already.
I'm trying to lead you to it, but you are so retarded that it just doesn't work.
No, I'm not retarded. That's factually
But do you
incorrect.
know the difference?
Of course I know the difference between an elephant's ass and a mailbox.
That's not what you are supposed to say. Artrix is unable to do a simple joke. Jesus.
Artrix, just say no. or
Okay, for the sake of the
4
joke,
years.
I say no. I don't understand the difference between an elephant's ass and a mailbox.
Artrix, I'm not letting you send my mail anytime soon.
Oh god.
Check humor. Don't
Tudum.
let it check humor.
I mean, if you want to be a feminist, you can use a vagina instead.
No, that's where the spaghetti goes.
Yes, that's art.
Not the spaghetti.
Oh, the
No, we
spaghetti.
could have eaten that. Now we can't.
No. By the way, it's not spaghetti. I think it's SpaghettiOs.
Yes, yes.
Which is
And-
basically-
O A Q P R G P P.
Oh my god. That reminds me of that thing posted in Lewd posting a few days, like it was a week or so ago. I cannot unsee that. Thanks, guys.
I don't. Oh god.
What are we talking about? I want to see that so I can't unsee it anymore.
It was in Lewd posting.
And anyway, I think Sekele wants to say something.
Pointed out that it's probably the one with the cereal.
Yes.
Actually,
it
it's
is.
the one with the cereal. Oh god, now I remember as well.
I have no idea what's going
No
on.
way.
Somebody find it and send it.
But yeah, that's art. That's a performance art thing with what is presumably a feminist, and that was like peak
So obviously-
pretentiousness. Like I
It's
think
like a waste. of SpaghettiOs.
I think the most jarring part of that video
Well, the
is...
SpaghettiOs were black, so it was really old can, or that it was.
Oh yeah, it was also rotting as well. It was,
Oh God damn!
or I think
So-
it was,
So
or
it-
she
it
added
could-
like...
It could have been just SpaghettiOs mixed with black paint. Who knows?
But
Oh,
but the
right.
most jarring part about that video was not even the actual act, but the audience. Like,
They were deeply immersed
Yes.
in this performance.
In all fairness, the one guy who kept screaming art was probably saying it ironically.
Yeah,
for his sake, I hope so.
I hope to. I pray on my dead ass. Yeah.
Aye.
Dead ass hope it, was ironic because. To be honest, I'd rather look at the Turf Witches art again than that shit. Like, seriously, rotten SpaghettiOs in a vagina. What? I mean, what is art? I know art's subjective, but Jesus Christ, people.
Sounds so romantic.
Come to church with me. I'm an atheist, and I'm begging you to come to church with me.
Sounds good.
Sounds...
Just please come with
Kinda
me. I'm
reminds me
scared.
of an essay. This kind of reminds me of an essay about art
Should be good.
that they played in radio once.
So,
You want to hear
no.
it?
Sure.
No.
Okay,
Sure.
so I listened to a state-owned radio
As you do.
in Slovakia. So, they basically...
The,
put
the,
a lot
one,
of
the one that you honorably said that you don't have, right?
You do have
Okay.
state-owned radios.
Yes. And if you don't pay for them, you had to honorably declare that you don't listen to one. Because you are not paying.
Oh, you've got the whole license fee thing going on
Yes,
there.
they sent you a letter because they compared the database of people who have electricity and people who have TV subscription because the TV is also state owned.
Without
Which is by the way I think illegal, but since they are a state corporation, they can do that. Yay!
the-
Anyway, so they sent you a letter. They were like, you totally have a radio. Tell us that you don't have a radio, or we are going to charge you a fine. And then I was like, yeah, well, I don't have a radio.
and they don't have the legal means to actually
and
check.
then they continued having radios, obviously.
No, without derailing your story too much, I've seen like this little video from it wasn't the BBC, but some guy going on about how the BBC and the way it's trying to enforce the TV license, and just the outright lies they resort to get you to to make you scared. Basically, they're like, yeah, this is like in the 50s. So they're like, yeah, we got like this car and it's really advanced. It's got like antennas and satellites and shit, and we can measure and detect up to like a few centimeters where there's the TV and what you're watching and when you're watching it. And
Which was technically true, but up to 5 centimeters was from the car.
yeah, the claims they were making were far more accurate than could reasonably be accessed, because basically all they could tell is, okay, there is a TV in like the vicinity. It could be this house, it could be the house over. We don't actually fucking know. So basically they were just bullshitting their way into making people scared, like, they must have... No, they have an impressive looking van. So that what they say must
They
be
must
true.
have it.
I must... I
They
guess...
must have that van full of radios.
I guess I'll pay my license fee, even though in hindsight it turns out that it was all utter bullshit. And also I think that they only had like 1 or 2 vans, and so yeah, it was basically just, yeah, it was kind of a wasted money actually, when you consider that they spent all this money building and maintaining this stupid van.
They actually have those still, I think.
I'm not...
But I don't think I think they're mostly for show. As you say, to scare people.
Yeah.
I don't think they can actually detect within a nanometer of where the fuck a TV is. Like that, like, I mean, especially if you're not using, like, I don't think they admit any, like, RF stuff. Do they?
I don't really get why they're doing the whole TV license thing in the first place. I mean, just
It costs money.
yeah.
Because
So
money. Also,
so
Artrix, the TV is so shit that nobody watches it, so they need to get the money.
yeah.
somewhere else.
So just finance it from the overall government budget, raise it by a fraction of a percent, and then have everyone pay for TV, which is effectively what they want anyways.
Just let the state TV die.
Or let say, but we all know that's not gonna happen.
If
So,
I'm gonna channel my inner Thanos,
look, Xaverius, now you're
just kill
expecting.
50% of the TV stations.
Look, Seris, you're expecting the government to abolish some of its power grip on people, okay?
Yes,
We
yes,
all
I'm
know that's
expecting the government to govern.
yeah.
Indeed.
So they're not gonna let go of this opportunity to basically.
Actually, yeah, Artrix does have a very good point, because I heard that basically from a lot of people in Sweden. And this was, again, a few people on Tumblr, but there was a sizable amount of these people are talking about state-run media in Sweden and how it basically is is like radical feminist and very anti-male and all this other shit. So it's basically like this was all state-run, and that's almost all they have. Was pretty much in Sweden is the state-run media. There might be a few like independent things, but they're not mainstream in the slightest. And that basically.
Okay.
That's the kind of good thing that our state-run media are not that stupid.
Yeah, it doesn't help that like the current government's like that.
Basically, our state-run media are trying to be, or at least to appear, educational. I was going forward to them.
Oh, and they describe anyone who criticizes their government as like, what was the exact words they used? But it was something like they used, basically they called them like radical right-wing people or Nazis, regardless of whether they were or not. So it's pretty bad actually in Sweden. I'm like, I don't want to go there.
Though I'm pretty sure there is privately owned media in Sweden as well, but they're all kind of in bed with one another. I mean,
Yeah,
the same.
They don't want to speak out against the government because they'll be labeled Nazis. Or
Exactly. So I mean, kind of the same thing is going on over here. I mean, there's some.
The best part is that in Slovakia, if you get labeled a Nazi, it means absolutely nothing, because we have freaking 2 Nazi parties already in our parliament.
I don't know about that.
One of them was even.
Well, he does.
I mean, for one thing, being described as being a thing usually implies things. It's not like, okay.
It carries a shit ton of weight here in the United States. For instance, like, if you're basically called a Nazi on social media or whatever, it can ruin your life. Even if it's completely false.
I mean, when I declare, okay, I'm not exactly feminist, yeah, that's
racist.
Yeah.
Well, obviously that's
from that.
yeah, that implies things, and the same. Even if you live in a country where, generally speaking, people don't take issue with a certain position, just saying that you are taking a certain position, well, yeah, it doesn't go without any consequence.
When I say I'm center left or center right on some things, that basically people mean, oh, so you support some genocide or some brutality or whatever, and it's like, no.
I mean, if I go on a date and the girl's like, you know what, I'm a radical feminist, well, I'm not gonna sit there and assume, oh, okay, that doesn't mean anything.
You should genocide all the dead people.
Then obviously I'm going to make assumptions about that. It's like. Yeah. And the assumption is probably like, we should probably end it right here. This isn't going to work.
Well, apparently that's true.
I'd leave her in the ditch.
I wouldn't even rape her.
Oh my
Jesus
god.
Christ.
Ow.
It is... But... it's still funny how that statement is interpreted, because there's a very clear meaning behind it, yet a lot of people are just taking it at face value. Because the
Like, are you implying I'm not pretty enough? Are you implying that I'm not board raping?
that was kind of the entire point. That offense is taken.
Like, it crosses the line.
Am I being offended?
One of my, like,
I pled the fifth. I am being offended.
like,
Sir,
one of the things. Oh, sorry.
sir,
Never
you're not
before.
being offended. I am being, or am I being offended? Sir, I'm not saying, am I being offended? Yeah, but, sir, by repeating that statement, you're not going, am I being offended? You know what? Just
I'm an independent vessel.
you know, just slam him in, put him in the slammer. I don't care anymore, and just arrest him right on the spot. Am I being offended? Yes, you are. Just shut up.
Am I being offended? So he's in court.
Being dragged through the
Oh
cell.
god, that kind of reminds me of the whole foreign sovereign citizens thing, where
Oh my god.
those people can be highly hilarious,
But
but also
dangerous.
terrifying. Yes.
Well, they're only terrifying if you detain them, Artrix.
You don't understand how a nation works.
But you see, since you're born out of the womb, that means you drifted ashore, which means that maritime law applies to you. And
Okay. Look, Sekele, you clearly didn't read the Book of Maritime Bylaws.
Yeah, it's a landlocked country, so
yes,
apply to us.
and obviously every woman in Slovakia is the sea. And when they give birth to people, that's the humans are being, they arrive from the shore, from the sea. They're a vessel. And yeah, and that's a very moist. See, even Beck agrees that
Right.
there's moisture involved. Ergo, everything is about sovereign citizens is factually correct, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's impeccable logic. Checkmate, atheists.
Moist. I'm
I'm
sorry.
I'm pretty sure Seris would be a sovereign citizen. I mean, if you go from one dimension to another, it's like arriving from the shore. So, no, I probably have to think this one through, but I'm sure there's logic in there somewhere. I can make this sovereign citizen one way or another. Anyway, we're 1 hour 70 minutes in, so
And we basically drifted away from a topic we were having.
Just like an independent vessel does.
so what is the topic we were talking about?
So, the whole thing with stuffing your rotten spaghettios in your vagina being art.
Oh wait, that was the topic? Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah, like
So basically, I pointed out that since our state-owned media, basically trying to be educational and all, then they were reading an essay from the start of the 20th century, written by some hipster from the 1910s about what is true art. Basically, it was actually a rather interesting, even if pretentious essay about the history of art and how in the past only rich people could afford art, and so artists would make art for the elites. So art is for the elites.
Well, to be perfectly
Capitalism, yeah, but since capitalism made it possible for everyone to buy art, it was no longer art. It was now available to the common masses and no longer for the elites. So instead of art being expensive, they had to do a different criteria, and that is make art incomprehensible.
It also says that modern art is for the people, the poor people in specific, and we all know that stuff that costs less money is usually shit, and it apparently extends to art too.
Yeah, I was gonna make the point that
Have you seen modern art?
these
Modern
days,
art is
yeah,
shit.
I was gonna make the argument that these days modern art is still expensive. It's just that the art has gone to shit. So it's
Look at this. This is exactly what a poor person would do. With poor person with no money to have any training in art, for example.
I mean, so you have an art exhibit, and you're the janitor. You're like, okay, the exhibit is over. You're like, okay, someone obviously threw some trash in this corner over here, so I'll just go ahead and clean up. And then some hipster comes up to you, is like, what are you doing? You just destroyed an irreplaceable piece of art. And you look at your dustbin, and it's full of fucking trash. Also, you just happen to be eating a burrito, so you're like, and you just toss like the burrito in the corner, and then Hip's like, oh my god, that's genius.
Artrix, it might amuse you that the official art of the Soviet Revolution was something called suprematism, which was mostly geometric, because everyone can do geometry.
Well, to be fair, there was that. But there was also what they called... actually, I forgot the name of it. But here's the basic premise. So
Yes, they kept painting pictures of naked people doing chores.
that, and they also created a movement of art which isn't really art, in the sense that it basically just depicted like the idolized version of life in the Soviet Union.
It was
so-
socialist realism.
Yeah, that's what I was looking. That's what I'm
It's
looking.
also called propaganda, or
That's
depending on your location, Artrix, an accurate depiction of the reality.
Yeah, so basically it looked good. Like the people drawing the things were obviously skilled people, which is actually kind of to be admired. Like at least it didn't look like shit. But it also had no soul, because essentially all it was someone who was able to draw was just being told, you need to draw this, or you go to the gulags, and they just drew it. And so you have this nice looking pic.
Then they went to the better gulag.
Yeah, they went with the one with Wi-Fi, except it didn't exist yet, so it was kind of a moot point. So yeah, they were basically just told to draw a thing, and they just did it, and they got their paycheck, but eventually there's
their loaf of bread.
yeah, that's their paycheck. You see, they got like it's like a theme park. You know, usually you have to wait an hour to get on the.
That's exactly what Soviet Union is.
Yes. So
It's
yeah,
like Disneyland.
it's now that I think of it, it's very similar to a theme park in the sense that you have to wait in line, and if you're a very special person, you can get a fast pass, so you don't have to wait in line as much.
Yeah.
Like Stalin himself probably only had to wait like 2 minutes, whereas the commoner would need to wait 2 hours for a loaf of bread. So in other words, Stalin could get more shit done. Well, Dmitry over there is just the way to,
But that's not very equal.
Well, obviously Stalin was more equal than others. Come on.
So yes, it's called going by the example.
Yeah, he set the example by waiting for 2 minutes.
Exactly.
But you see, he had a country to run, so everyone was like, you know what, Stalin, you don't have to wait as much. You have important shit to do. Don't mind us commoners. We'll gladly wait for our glorious loaf of bread. You deserve it. You're special, but you're also equal.
Actually, it was pretty shitty to go by example because you don't watch yourself and you do a bit more and suddenly you are like, oh my god, you are working over the norm. You are the best now. This your thing that you just did. This 105% is the new norm, and then everybody hates you because they have to work more.
That kind of reminds me of this anecdote that I read on the internet.
That's why everybody in Soviet Union was lazy. Also, if you just steal something, no big deal. It's everyone's. Somebody will fix it.
That's usually how you climb up the social ladder in the Soviets. You don't work hard.
Yeah.
You just make sure you have the proper connections and get away with shit.
If the means of production belong to everybody, then it's not my problem.
Yes. Anyway, that kind of reminds me of this anecdote that I read on the internet. So take this with a really big grain of salt, because for all I know, it's completely fabricated. But it kind of makes sense, and here's why. So apparently the anecdote is that women in the Soviet Union. I know, right? They had women in the Soviet Union. I'm sure. I was actually surprised that they didn't just outlaw them. And
there's only one gender, socialist.
Yeah.
Comrade.
Yeah, exactly. The only gender in the Soviet Union is comrade. But apparently, women in the Soviet Union, if you were pretty and beautiful, conventionally attractive, I must say. So if you are conventionally attractive as a woman in the Soviet Union, you actually went out of your way to make yourself look not as attractive. Because if they found you, if society deemed you too attractive, you could have been
suspected you from being attractive.
Yes. Dear comrade, we have come to the conclusion that you are more attractive than the other woman. Therefore, you have a advantage. We're going to send you to the gulags. So, in order to prevent this from happening, instead of buying makeup to make yourself look pretty, they bought makeup to make themselves look more average and fugly.
So it was more of a make down.
But then you wonder, doesn't that create a new problem? Because what if one woman is better at making themselves look fugly than the other woman?
This kind of reminds me of a theory one of my relatives has. Well, not really a relative, more like an acquaintance of one of my relatives.
A person.
He claims that Western women are ugly compared to our women, and he had a theory why it is that. That in the West, when there were witch hunts, they would burn all the pretty women at the stakes, and only the ugly ones survived, and that is why Western women are all ugly.
That's a solid theory.
That I find that theory to be debatable, since there's a fair number of attractive women in the West.
Says the Westerner.
Exactly. It's almost like on average, your average woman is just gonna look average, and then there's a few outliers, and you can see that in pretty much any society, even in India. No, it's true. In India, there are quite some extremes. Like if you just look up pictures of Indians, and by which I mean from India, it basically goes from I don't know about that to holy shit, that's fucking hot.
So it goes from black to European, you say, Artrix?
No, that I wouldn't say that. Anyway, new topic, one that's nice and short, so we can end this episode.
Okay, apparently in Australia, now if you play a first-person shooter game, you are, especially if it's Fortnite, on a watch list of terrorism suspects.
Yes, you do.
Wait. So, a game is on a terrorism suspect list, not a person, a video game. Is that what I'm getting from this?
You, if you play it,
Okay.
as well.
So you know, one day you're bored.
Video games cause terrorism.
So in other words, one day you're just bored out of your skull. You're like, Jesus Christ, I'm bored.
I don't
You
even
know,
have a skull anymore.
yeah, I'm so bored out of my skull that my skull has just disintegrated. You know what? I'm going to play some Fortnite. I'm just gonna see what the fuss is all about. So
Open up, open up.
No. It's more like, oi, my, hold up. You playing the video game, mate? And cunt, because you know you're in Australia. Oi, my cunt, you playing some Fortnite, cunt? You'll be terrorism suspect, cunts. But obviously, as an Australian, you say, what the fuck are you talking about, cunt? I'm playing Fortnite. Does make me a terrorist, cunt. And then I would just says cunt repeatedly for 5 minutes straight, and somehow that's how they convey concepts to one another. That sounds like a typical day in Australia to me. But did they give any reasoning as to why?
Yeah, what's their logic?
I'll try checking it out. I think I threw it into the politics.
Because as much as you know, I'd like to make fun of them for being retarded. At least I'd like to know the reasoning behind it, so I might actually learn something from this experience.
Where the hell did the politics forum disappear to?
Maybe you not collapse. Yeah, you collapse the.
Here it is. Okay. So gaming one. Here it is. Okay. The sad thing to load.
I'm not entirely sure if I should be reading the entire article on stream, but
Okay.
I probably shouldn't. Especially since we're nearing the end of the
You
episode.
can't read anyway, Artrix.
No,
The
that's
new
true.
bill will force technology companies to hand over private data of its users, and in particular, those who use video game private messaging services to send communications.
Wow.
According to the Cybersecurity Minister, the reasons for the new legislation is to increase the law enforcement agencies' ability to crack down on cyber crimes, and they needed new powers in order to do so.
Thankfully, Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, Instagram, and Blizzard already do that, so nothing's really gonna change.
Also, it's Treya. I'm not surprised in the slightest.
Basically going to spy on video games.
Oh, by the way, Twitter, more specifically Jack, was heard saying that there are going to be changes on Twitter. Because, you know, there's apparently too much hate speech and fake news and conspiracy theories.
Not those. Anything but those. Also, I think he said something kind of in defense of Alex Jones, and everyone just went ape. No, not everyone.
Yes,
Mostly
but-
those that are
And
not very
then he's
keen
like,
of.
okay, we are gonna make changes.
You know, especially those that are not very keen on free speech were like, oh, so it's okay that he's gotta have his opinion. And
Also, apparently Patreon got into the business of silencing people now. I did
Yeah,
not investigate
well,
that.
Yeah, and not only that, but the DNC is basically going to start like asking, like going after people on like Twitter, Facebook, etc., who they suspect are Russian infiltrators and all that. And I'm
So
just
now it's also racist.
yeah, so they're going to start just going after people. So this is probably Twitter basically is going to just start deleting and unpersoning anyone who disagrees with the
Who is
so-called left.
Are they Monica now?
Yeah.
But at least Monica's cute.
But she's drawn in the Tumblr style, so you can't have.
Oh, so I get Monica, but she's drawn in Tumblr style, and not the one that
She's-
was done ironically, but the one where they're
No,
serious.
She's only got 50,000 scars. She weighs 500 pounds. She's more tan than a coconut, but only in certain parts of her body. She's got stretch marks all over the goddamn place. I'm sorry, Artrix. It's not the Monica you know. They killed her.
Oh,
We have to kill them back.
now I'm kind of sad. I'm kind of fond of Monica.
Monica.
You know,
It's like Sonic.
Monica and I, we had something going.
Artrix just make a new Monica, original character. Blonica.
I'm not Monica. I'm an original character, Blonica.
And you know what's funny? Apparently, some porn artists started using this exact joke to avoid copyright strikes.
Just
Obviously. That's what they do.
like I've seen clip from a really shitty porn where the porn star was trying to.
As opposed to really high quality porn.
Oh yeah, I mean this was like the girl was supposed to be cosplaying Diva, but the only part where they were actually cosplaying was that she got like a few smears of makeup on her cheeks.
As long as she has gremlin ears, it's okay with me.
But she didn't. She was.
Yeah.
She didn't even.
It's like the gremlin ears is like the major characteristic.
It was just a plain looking Asian chick. Like she didn't even look like Diva. She just looked like generic Asian.
The problem there, Artrix, is that the Diva is not even looking Asian-y.
Yeah, she looks like a Disney princess.
Korean, isn't it?
Yes. No. At least
Korea confirms for Disney Kingdom.
I mean at least Mulan looked Asian, okay? Sort of.
She had the eyes.
I guess Diva looks kind of Korean if you squint your eyes.
Oh, Koreans have arms and legs.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Oh yeah. I stand corrected. You're right. They have arms, so she's definitely Korean. But yeah, in this particular porn, it was like it was generic Asian. She didn't even change her hair. I don't think she was actually wearing any kind of costume. Basically, they just put. I don't even think they use proper makeup.
I think it's kind of hard to wear a costume when you get naked.
But here's the thing that I think they didn't even use proper makeup for like the little. I think the little marks on her cheeks are supposed to be war paint in the original character design, but in this case it was clearly just lipstick that they just kind of scribbled on her face like, oh, well, I guess you look like Diva now.
Look, Artrix, it's not Hollywood. They just don't have the money for the kind of production.
But I have seen porn parodies that had actually some pretty convincing cosplay.
Yeah, there are some.
I have actually seen some that have pretty shockingly spot-on casting.
But yeah, this particular one didn't.
So sometimes it's a bit counterproductive because you go watch a porn parody of Game of Thrones and you stay for the story. And like, wait, am I watching the porn or the actual series? This is getting confusing.
I feel conflicted. What's this? Story in my porn?
And they're like, no, I'm actually watching the actual series.
Yes.
Just too many naked people in here.
Like,
Too many wieners. And anyway, I think we pretty much discussed everything we wanted to discuss. I mean, last time we wanted to bring up the new Smash Brothers characters, but we didn't we? I think
Very
we.
brief.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, you know what? Does anyone have anything to add on that?
No. That was my addition, Artrix.
Okay.
Yes, someone else is joining the battle, but not in Smash Brothers, but the GPU market.
That's not a real word.
Like, it's pretty clear that in about 2 days, or 3 days depending on where you live, on Monday the 20th, Nvidia is announcing the new graphics card series. Well, it's pretty much all leaked, but they will officially introduce it.
Didn't they say like no cards for a while?
Of course, but that just means, yeah, there are cards coming.
The card's coming.
Yes.
Be prepared.
And there's a unique twist to the naming scheme.
It will come. I mean, come. Oh wait, that doesn't come out right as well. Oh.
That's a
what she
long
said.
con.
No homo though. It's not. So yeah,
The new series is all about them race, all about them giga race, because ray tracing.
that
Oh, that's that.
more of everything is of course good. I'd like to have more rays in my video games.
Yeah,
I don't.
especially in real time.
Look, it's been many years, and anti-aliasing still looks like shit, and it doesn't take care of the juggies. It just makes everything blurry. It doesn't work.
Just super simple, just render at 4 times the resolution and then downscale.
Like, anti-aliasing is like that one time in 2000s when everybody put bloom permanently on everything through hardware, so you couldn't turn it off. But it's been about a decade now. It's just anti-aliasing. There's like 17 types, and they all look the same to me.
And anyway, and anything out, they're gonna announce it, so we don't actually know.
Where they already announced a Quadra series for it, for this generation. It's based on the Turing chip, just like the rumors were saying. And yeah, we pretty much have the name for it, like how it's gonna be called, a few specifications, but of course final stuff is all gonna be revealed on Monday.
Oh, okay.
Monday.
But it's gonna be pretty fast.
Pretty fast.
Brady fast.
Mm.
And it's pretty expensive.
Let's see if we can find the proper blending mode to make this look good.
I don't think there's a blending mode that makes your drawings look good at it.
There is. There absolutely is. Yeah, color dodge. That'll do it. No, I think normal is probably gonna be good enough. Just lower the opacity a little bit.
Yes.
So it
Just
blends.
apply all the dodge and all the burn. Those
Yes.
are the best
Sounds
tools in the
dodgy.
entire Photoshop.
Sounds
Especially
dodgy.
the burn.
Anyway,
Artrix,
you know what?
You should draw everything with the burn tool.
No. Just no. Anyway, this is the end of Ray Rothingham. Yeah, that's it. The podcast over. No more episodes. We're ending this forever. Except Nori. Forever. Anyway, like, subscribe, do that jazz. There obviously won't be an episode for at least the next 2 weeks since we'll be on vacation. And by we I mean just me, back, Astra, and even Xaverius. You're gonna do a thing, or at least
No, I'm not. Unless you go to Prague.
Okay, so yeah. Well, Prague isn't a vacation for you since you'd still be in Czech Republic.
Yes,
No,
it's
Germany.
It's not vacation. It's fucking work. And yes, it's in Germany.
Yes.
It's
So
like, I have to be in Prague, I think. That's work.
okay. So see you all next time. Whenever it is we start doing episodes again. Maybe we'll just say fuck it, and we're just gonna do the next episode on January 1st, 2019, just to fool around with you guys. You know, you're like, oh, They must be back from vacation. I guess there's gonna be a new Radio Rothingham. And then we're like, psych, there's no episode. We
Or
misled
just
you.
later.
Yes.
16 insulator.
Anyway, I'm
Yes, you are a Poe.
yeah, I'm Poe. So, Kenix, bye.